Okay, so welcome back to the channel. This is the second Hypervisor build video. Hopefully you've seen the first one. And if you haven't, then go and have a check out the first one in our other data center room. As you see, we're actually in a different room this time, so hopefully there's a little bit less complaints about the noise. But it will still get noisy because, of course, we're still working with servers. I'm also here with Raf. Raf is going to do the Vmware install. I'm going to set up RAID, which was the final part of the last bit of the video. So we might as well just get to it. In the back, as you saw in the last video, we have two drives, and these drives are the ones we're going to stick the OS on. And then I also have a stack of drives here, which we are going to put into the front of the machine, and we'll do a RAID 5 on those. So that's its storage and its OS on the back. So if Raf wants to take that set, I'll take this set.
Fair enough.
We just turn the machine on and hopefully it all just works. Cool, so all it does now is it does a memory check and it checks the CPUs and things on the machine as it's booting up, as you'd normally find on any computer, except for it's in pretty blue colours this time from Dell. Okay, so hopefully I'm going to catch the RAID configuration prompt and I don't miss it, otherwise I have to reboot the machine again and that's just painful. There it is, almost missed it. So you press Ctrl-R to run into the configuration utility, and once it's finished initialising its card thing, it will actually take me into the RAID controller. And there we are. So we can see all the disks that we have put into the machine at the front, and then the two at the back, which are the 140 gig ones. So this one's going to be our OS. This one is going to be our storage for the machine itself. Now these ones are quite simple. You can go up to the top, you can press F2, you can create a new virtual disk. We can then select the RAID level we want, and it gives us RAID levels, in this case 0, 1, 5, 10 and 50. So for my OS version I'm going to go with 1 because I've only got 2 disks. I'm then going to select the disks that I want by scrolling down and then hitting space to select. I can then set the virtual disk name, in this case OS. I'm not bothered about the advanced settings. Hit OK. It warns us that we want to initialize the disks first, so we just say yeah, sure, OK. And then we do what it says to initialize. So we press F2 back on our virtual disk that we just set up. We come to initialization, and I choose fast int because I'm not going to stand here for half hour. We then say sure, yes, we do want to initialize. The reason it asks you whether it wants to initialize or not is because if you did that on a live disk with an actual RAID array, you would delete all the data on the disk. Delete. And then it tells us it's done, so cool. We then want to take and create our next virtual disk for our storage. So we do the same again, create new virtual disk. In this case, I'm going to go with 5 for my RAID level, just because I get a little bit more storage. I then select all the disks, come down, call this storage. OK, OK. And then we do the same again, which is the fast initialize. Probably tell I've done that quite a few times, so you get pretty fast at it. Right, and now effectively the RAID is set up. So Raf is going to do his next bit. Hopefully it's going to boot off of the USB stick and we can actually install VMware. Control delete to reboot. And it goes through its boot cycle again, and I'll have to watch out for the bit that says press enter to load off USB stick or whatever it is that it says.
I believe if you just leave it running, it will still boot out of USB.
I could. I'm actually going to use boot manager. If I press F11 it'll go into boot manager, so I can actually choose it rather than waiting.
There you go.
And I should really disable this initializing thing for Pixie boot, because I'll never Pixie boot off of this machine. It just takes time, doesn't it? Oh, it's looking promising. Syslinux. What version of VMware did you put on there?
6.7. That's the current most. Well, that's the most current version of ESXi that there is. I believe it's update number 3. Yeah.
Cool. It's worth noting with the other machines in the video that we had done beforehand that this version of VMware isn't supported by certain CPUs. So if you use like that 2960, 2950 even is what I meant, then this version isn't technically supported, so you'd have to go back a few versions, like version 6.
When this boots, we should be greeted by installer of the ESXi shell. You could think of it as an operating system, although technically it's just a shell that runs virtual machines. Hypervisors can be done multiple ways, as I explained in different video. You can just run OS on it, or like fully fledged Linux or anything, and just run KVM and libvirt and stuff like that, and that will work brilliantly. We're doing the ESXi, which is, will achieve the same thing, just different way. Alright guys, we've made a cut there just to spare you the boring faffing around with BIOS settings, but there is one important setting that needs to be turned on, otherwise the hypervisor will not be a hypervisor, because it will not be running a virtual machines. There's the setting right there. It will be something around virtualization technology, or you have to enable VT on your BIOS, depends on your vendor and on your motherboard. So here it is, virtualization technology is enabled. While we're at it, we've swapped the USB from front to back, because we think it might make a difference. We'll see.
Oh, there it was.
It is not what I expected it would be.
No, but there's the Pixie setting that I wanted to turn off. The system will now reload again because I changed loads of settings on the BIOS and on network ports on the back. There you go, booting from disk. Right, so now it has actually booted. Cool.
So we are in actual OS installer, which is pretty much like every other system installer that you have seen. It's just gonna run some kernels and stuff, and hopefully we'll get into the progress bar, and once it reaches 100%, we should be good to go. Okay, so now it prompts us with the welcome message. So I'm just gonna press enter to continue. Yes, I actually read it. It's okay to press F11 to agree, but make sure you read it yourself. Yeah, seriously, I've read it.
Did you though?
Shut up. Okay, now we're gonna select the device that we're gonna install it on. We're gonna install it on the 2 drives that are right here at the back, which will be the first one.
The first one, it's 139
140 gigs drives. And for, yeah, it's giving us the options to run it on the one on the back, the one on the front. That's what we configured in the RAID. So we'll see RAID 1 here for the one on the back, RAID 5, the one on the front, and it also sees my USB stick. And obviously I don't want to install it on a USB stick. So yeah, that's the one we're going to install it for. Do you want UK keyboard?
Yes.
Ukrainian. United Kingdom. There you go.
Set your secret password.
There you go. It's James's server, so we're going to allow him to type in
my very secret
his
password.
very secret passwords. And I'll promise not to look. Okay, the installer is configured to install ESXi. We want to go forward, so I'm just going to press F11. And there we have a long-awaited progress bar. And this didn't take long.
It's worth noting that although we have chosen to install it on the drives, you can install it on a memory stick inside as well, and some people do that, and you can set up different things on internal storage as well, except for the fact that actually we just chose to use the disks at the back. It's my server, so I'll do what I like, essentially. And now we wait.
All right, guys, so the installation finished successfully. We've got the prompt that the installation was successful. It asks us to remove the installation media before rebooting, which we did. We've got a USB stick out. And we're just going to press enter to reboot. There we go. The server will shut down and reboot. That's what we want. And hopefully it will boot now from the 2 drives out there that are configured in RAID 1. And we'll get the ESXi on the screen.
Cool, so it's actually booting from the disks now. This is its boot up process, and then hopefully it will actually take us into the ESXi system where we can configure a few more settings for it.
Right, we could also mention that if you want to, guys, repeat our little lab in here, ESXi is a free has a free hypervisor license. So all you need to do is to register on Vmware website where you can download yourself an ISO with the ESXi. And then you don't even have to have a server. Obviously, that's James's lab, James's server is putting it on there. But if you have like an old laptop that's still capable of running virtual machines, you can confirm that when you go into the BIOS and you'll see that you have virtualization technologies to enable. You can put that on a laptop and you can replicate our entire lab.
Yeah, so you don't need anything special. You could just have an old desktop.
Yeah, so you can do it essentially for free if you have any hardware that would run it. Okay, so we do have ESXi fully booted, loaded, up and running. What we can and what we should do now is to just configure the network interface for it. So if James is kind enough to log in and put his super complicated password.
That's if I can remember it.
All right.
And that's the sign of doing it right.
There we are. So now from here, what you should do is configure a network interface or network management. So if we're going to go over here and we're going to do IPv4, and we will use static, yes? We will use static, and then we will configure.
Need to press space.
There we go. And you can set the IP address that you want your ESXi on. Now ESXi in version 6.7, you fully configure it from the web interface. So you type into your browser the IP address that you select right here, and from there you'll be able to make any changes. Previous versions had, just taking notes.
This is so I don't forget what the IP address is.
Previous versions had a standalone Windows program that will allow you to configure ESXi from that program. They've chose to do it from the web interface going out, which has it both advantages and disadvantages, but we're not going to touch on it in this video. We'll talk about it later on in the next one.
No VLANs.
No VLANs.
And we are selecting network port 0 as the management interface. And then while Raf was talking, I set DNS settings for it as well. And I disabled IPv6 because I'm not using v6 in my lab. And that is essentially it. So now if we come out of this, it asks, do we want to apply the changes? And we hit yes, we do.
Okay, so once this hypervisor boots again, it's going to be fully functioning, ready to go hypervisor. And we're going to pick it up on the next video, so stick with it, guys, and we'll see you in the next time.